happy to host this event in the center in Europe, in a really vibrant Berlin city. So I'm happy to say that Hit Games Conference Berlin is officially open. Thank you. Please welcome our first speaker from AppMagic. Yeah.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hello, lovely people. Glad to see all of you today. And it's a big honor to be an opening speaker. So Eugene, and all the organizers, once again, thank you. My name is Stan. I'm VP of Product at AppMagic. And today I will be talking about monetization, LiveOps, and how to boost your revenue using smart LiveOps research. This topic is especially crucial when we are talking about casual games, and we are talking about transition from hyper to hybrid. So if it's your case, you're in the right place. A couple of words about me and why should you trust me in the first place. So I've been working as a product manager and researcher for the last 10 years. Doing different stuff. I even used to teach maths in university. So numbers and data is my bread and butter. And I pay a lot of attention to it. So I know a thing or two about the things I will be talking about today. And if you work in the gaming industry, you definitely should know AppMagic. So we are an analytical service for analyzing mobile markets and gaining actionable insights. Say market intel, gameplay features deconstructions, a combination of sensor tower and game refinery in one quick and easy package. And yeah, we do a lot of research. And recently, during the last 2 years, we analyzed 200 mobile games, casual, hybrid, and mid-core-ish. And now we track and research them on a daily basis. So buckle up. My main goal today is for you to gain as much actionable insights as I can give. So if after my talk, you will be ready to implement them in your work right away, this will be the best outcome for me. But first, several numbers. A good question might be, why LiveOps? Why should we talk about it in the first place? And ironically, all of the numbers here will be ones. It's a coincidence, but well, a pretty hefty one. So, you probably know that for the last several years, the mobile industry was in decline. This year, though, we are looking pretty good so far. We have a 1.1 market growth compared to the previous year. So, say we're on a plateau. But it's a tiny number compared to pre-COVID and especially COVID times. So we are talking here that launching new games is super, super difficult. And the success rate of new games launched just shows this as well. So out of all the games, and this is a big research we've done internally at AppMagic, we've took all the games that were released to the market, and only 1% of them appeared to be successful. Just think about it, 1% of all the games. And we are talking about games well-built, well-produced, and well-scaled, not just some trash games made by someone in the garage. Moreover, for the majority of the games, the return of investment period will be more than a year. So launching a game now will return the investment, say, in a couple of years, which is crazy because you do not know what the market will look like in a half a year. So it is more crucial than ever to scale an already existing successful game, rather than trying to launch a new one. And just quoting CEO of Supercell here, the question facing us now, which we have always faced, by the way, is how do we make each game even better by adding new content and features? And this is LiveOps. This is monetization operation. This is what he's talking about. And that's a good question, how? So we've talked with major experts, like hundreds of customer developers, interviews from Supercell, Zynga, Playrix, and others. And these are the three things majority of them mentioned. Think ahead, know your audience in game, and analyze and research market. And I will be talking about each and every of them, but mostly the last one because it's the most crucial. First of all, think ahead. So, in other words, don't build Rails on the go. Usually the thing we've heard from the market and developers, it's not the priority. We will think about it tomorrow because we have other important things on hand. We have to test monetization. We have to test engagement and core loop. We have to test thematic balance. And it's totally understandable. Without these things, your game will not be successful. But if you will not think about long-term engagement, long-term retention, and monetization right now, it will hit you like in several months, in half a year, so you will see that your game will be on a plateau. So, the right moment usually should be attributed to several criteria, and these are the ones. First of all, the tests I've already mentioned, monetization, engagement, balance, they are right. You can see that the numbers are all right, you hit your benchmarks. Secondly, a big marketing scaling is planned. So basically it means that you will have a big stream of new users coming to your game. And you want to retain these users. And to retain these users, you need LiveOps. And last but not least, you have core audience. You already have loyal users who stay in your game. It's super important because this is the audience who will interact with your LiveOps first and foremost, and who you will build LiveOps for. So this is the second idea. Know your audience in game. There are the basis for the LiveOps and operating. Try to ask these questions on a regular basis. What do we want to achieve? So that's just a business question. What goal do we have in mind? What do we have in the game already? Balance-wise, mechanics-wise, resource-wise. What is missing? What do we need to introduce in order to boost engagement and retention? Who is our audience? What do they love? What do they don't? So two great examples here might be Monopoly Go and Coin Master. Both of these games are casual casino. They are pretty much alike, but they address the LiveOps and events in two different ways. First, let's look at Coin Master. And these and the forehand screenshots will be from our tools. This is the LiveOps and updates calendar. I will talk about just in a second. So you can see that the majority of the events running in the game are competitive. Because Coin Master developers know that the basis of their game are competitive audience. Monopoly Go, which was released later than Coin Master, took it to the next level. Monopoly is a brand both about competition, just remember the board game, and cooperating. So the majority of their successful events are both cooperative and competitive. You can see these two words being the first one in the phrase in the description of the event. And we can see that their events perform really, really great because they use these two motivations at the same time. And the reason for that, because they know the audience and what works for them better. And last but not least, and this is the topic I will delve deeper into today, is analyzing and researching market. So how do my competitors run their LiveOps? What are the best practices? So basically, what already works? What is working and what is not? Because knowing what doesn't work can save you lots of resources. What is the new talk of the town? And the most crucial, the most important question of them all, what events perform the best? So what is the correlation between the events and the impact? Well, luckily enough, we've got an answer for that. So we've got a special tool to analyze how top grossing games run their LiveOps and which events boost the revenue. For that, we analyzed and tracked more than 200 games on a daily basis, without weekends, without holidays. We know their performance, we know their product metrics, we know the events and their monetization features. And we know all about casual and hybrid markets, which is pretty handy for today's talk. Based on this research, there are several tips and tricks I want to share. And they will work for you in both ways. Either you're building a new LiveOps from scratch, for example, you've got a hyper-casual game and you want to increase the progression, you want to add a meta layer, you want to add some LiveOps. Or you already have a LiveOps layer, but you want to boost it. You want to freshen it up, you want to scale it. So let's first begin with building a regular grid. This is the bread and butter and the basis of a good LiveOps. Try analyzing your competitors and how they build a basic grid of regular events. What is that? We're looking for regular events from top grossing games with stable performance boost. And Royal Match, one of the most successful match-3 games nowadays, should be a good example here. So you can see right away that there is a pattern to how they run their events. First of all, the basis of their LiveOps are regular events. And not just one regular event, but a combination of them. This is something we call a regular event block. Moreover, you can notice that they are different sized. So there are super short events that help to increase the number of sessions during the day and the length of each session. Then there are events running 2 to 3 days, and their main goal is to increase the conversion to the next day. And last but not least, weekly events. They're usually competitive, and they help to engage the players, especially during the middle of the week when there is a natural fall in the metrics. So the combination of these events, a basic event block, runs time after time and helps to retain a very good standard number of the revenue. And you can see it going up to the weekends. It's a natural process as well. But overall, there is an overall growth going on to what we are looking for. So if you see this type of picture, regular block of events, organic growth to the weekends, and overall growth, maybe this is something you want to implement in your LiveOps as well. Beware here though, don't fall into the trap of false stability, which can be boring. Another good example, Love and Pies game. From the first glance, it might seem that, well, everything is all right. There are one-time regular seasonal events, they're different, but if you look deeper, you will see that the basis, just like with the roll match, are regular events. But there are only like 2 to 3 events running in the game, and they're pretty much the same mechanically. They're just reskins of the same event going on and on. So just in 2 to 3 weeks, the main players and the main users will be bored. So when you're trying to build the basic event block, think about the minimum number of events you need to introduce for your users to be entertained. And of course, track on a regular basis and adapt. You can see that, for example, for Royal Match, what they did, they squeezed their regular event block, increasing the number of events, and also they introduced new events on a regular basis. For example, Dragon Nest, which was introduced late last year around Christmas, now is a part of a regular event block running monthly. All right, we've got covered the regular grid, but now we want some fresh things. We want variety, we want continuity. So try to enliven your regular grid with variety, with different mechanics, different goal setting, different monetization practices, social, and much, much more. For example, in our case, we have more than 40 different tags that help you to find exact type of event you're looking for, or presets like events with direct monetization, non-standard key play, and non-interesting trendy mechanics, holiday themed, weekend competitive, and so on. A great example here is Monopoly Go. You can see that, well, first of all, they've got a lot of events. If you play the game, you will not feel it, but if you look at it on a regular basis, you will see that there are enormous number of events, and they run simultaneously and seamlessly. So there are a lot of events, up to 2 dozen running at the same time, and they run without an interruption. So the players are always engaged. An interesting thing here, an example from Merge Mansion, one of the most famous and popular Merge 2 games. There are events that seems like the same. For example, Amy's Mystery, Deb's Mystery, and Cherry's Mystery Me. If we look at the tags and tags only, seasonal, collection, narrative, I mean, pretty much the same to me. But if we look deeper, we can see that starting with the Amy's Mystery, free energy refill in paid option was replaced for an equivalent amount of hard currency. So basically, there was a pretty serious monetization rebalance inside the event. And then the pass was visually redesigned. So for it not to cannibalize all the other monetization offers, it was pretty heavily redesigned. So details matter. Rebalance and iterate, not just have one working solution, use reskins, rebalance what is already working. Try to come up with different solutions. By the way, this is one of the reasons we track what we call evolution of events. So we do not just look at the events in the moment. We do not just make gameplay and business deconstructions. We also track the previous versions, because it's super crucial to know how the event was changing. All right, we've got the regular event grid. We've got variety and continuity. Now let's add a cherry on the top for special occasions, holidays and weekends. Use special occasions to boost the revenue even more. Good news here is that players and payers are more active during these periods organically. So you don't have to force them, rather help them to play more and convert into payments more. Another great example might be Frozen City, a pretty popular idle tycoon game. So you can see that if we choose only seasonal special holidays, they go all season simultaneously, like Spring Pass, Easter, St. Patrick's, Mother Days. So it's not just 3 or 4 usual holidays during the year, like Halloween, Christmas, Easter, and say 4th of July for the Western market. It's several seasonal events going at the same time. And this is you should introduce after you already have the basic events covered and you have variety and continuity. So you are sure that all the bases are covered. Because this is something that you can use in order to increase by 30, 40, sometimes even 50%. We've seen it with our customers to boost the revenue during the year. And of course, don't forget to rotate weekend events as well. Keep it fresh. Because weekends are small holiday basically. You can use them for pretty much the same occasion. So you can see that there is a regular boost, but it goes even higher thanks to the regular rotating holiday events, weekend events, sorry. By the way, the example we've just seen is an example of reskin and reusage. It's not the same event, but the same core mechanics that I used, which helps to save some resources of development. So we all know that development is pricey. Use working events and working mechanics on a regular basis, especially when acquiring users. Why so? Because when you acquire users, you will have a lot of new audience that haven't seen good working events in your game. So yeah, some of your customers might have already experienced it. But when we're talking about newcomers, introduce them to the most interesting, the most engaging events you've got up on your sleeve. Because it can really help to retain them longer. And of course, save resources with smart reskins and enhance them with connected events. Connected events is another thing that we track. It's a combination of events running at the same time that are connected through, rewards, through energy, or say through narrative. Because if you can see a revenue boost during these events running, you should approach them as a whole, not just one event, but the connection of the events as well, because they work as a combination. So how to find the reskins? Well, the easiest way is look for repeating events of the same length and contents. Travel Town, another very popular merge 2 game, is a wonderful example here, because they use a lot of reskins. And we track them on a regular basis. So we have not just tags, exact dates, performance, and gameplay deconstructs. We also have something we call expert commentary, which is a business deconstruct. In this case, we have an information about what reskins were running in the game and used the same gameplay mechanics. So explore these reskins, explore connected events, and explore new event trends. So what is the events in other games with the same mechanics that were running at the same time? And align reskins with your game wisely. So we already know that you have to base your LiveOps on your audience and your existing customers. Here, you can see that, well, the main idea and the main narrative of Travel Town is going to a holiday resort and restoring it. And all the reskins are around going and traveling to the different places. They have the same reward style. I mean, the icons are different, but the balance is the same, the idea is the same, the core gameplay is the same. But the visual shell is different. And so they are felt different. And they work pretty much the same, even though they are not boring for the players. All right, we have a regular event grid, we have variety and continuity, we spiced it up with holiday and weekends, and we work smart with it. We use reskins and use different connected events. Now let's talk about tracking new and performing updates, because we're not talking just about events, we're talking about events evolution and updates of the game, new features introduced, game evolution. So market is big. So focus on what's already working. Do not try to analyze all the games, all the competitors at once. It will take too much time and is not worth it. So explore which events are performing for your competitors or what has been recently launched. So either be sure to know what events impact the revenue the most, or what events are brand new, what events are unique that you have to introduce in your game as well. For example, here we have several toggles. You can spot the trend in events only right away and see what events were running during a really crucial boost in the metrics during the spike in the revenue. How much was the spike, and what is the weight of each event? So which one of the events had the most impact on this revenue spike? And of course, explore evolution of the events, because say in Monopoly Go, a great example, Baking Partners, a competitive cooperative event. Once again, Monopoly Go, we remember that they use both of the motivations. So they originally introduced it as a reskin of another events from Dice Dreams. And it worked really well. So what they did, instead of putting it on a regular basis, they began introducing reskins, either connected to special events like Olympic Games or St. Valentine's Day, or fountain partners, parades partners, running them once in 2 months in order for them to be successful. And by the way, the Tycoon Racers, another super successful event in Monopoly Go, was an evolution of this event as well. So they used what is already working in the game and they enhance it even more. And of course, explore both new events and important updates. So as we play these games daily, we try to also analyze the core, the monetization, the meta changes. And if there is anything interesting going on, we show it as well. Because, say, in some cases, the patch notes are not enough. There will be no information about what's going on, so you have to go deeper. And be careful. Keep in mind other factors like user acquisition. Because, for example, here, once again with Travel Town, end of December, Christmas, there are several consecutive revenue spikes going at the same time, which is a little bit surprising. Because usually there is a really impressive spike during the Christmas, and then in January, a hangover. I mean, it happens to all of the customers. So what we should do is look at the downloads as well. And we will see right away that there was definitely a prominent marketing campaign running at the same time, which might be the reason for the spike as well. Not the only one, but an important one to consider. All right. And the last point here, so we've got all the basics covered, we spiced up with holidays, we use reskins, and we track new and performing content. Try to seek potential opportunities. Explore both your direct competitors and top performers. So track different niches within your category and use what's working and improve what's not. A super interesting example here, and we've already seen Love and Vice, so you remember this example. They use regular basis, but they are pretty much the same event, so that's boring. Gossip Harbor, it's a copycat of Love and Vice. I mean, it appeared a year after the original game, when the original was already in the top grossing. But what happened next was crazy. In half a year, they appeared and made it to the top grossing and overcame the original. Just think about it, the copycat of the game, I mean, the narrative, the visuals, the basic core gameplay, the balance itself, they're almost equal. I mean, if you wake up me in the middle of the night, it will be difficult for me to say which is which. But what was different, first of all, monetization, and secondly, LiveOps. You can see right away that they run their LiveOps entirely different, introducing new type of events, experimenting with it. And these two factors help them to grow drastically during this time. So, if there are 3 things you will take today, I want them to be this one. Know your goals and what's working for your game and audience. Don't try to build LiveOps out of nothing. Base it on what's already existing. Research smart and use best tools. Save time for implementation. So instead of spending hundreds of hours doing the heavy lifting, invest them in implementing, testing, and scaling the performance. And last but not least, use data. Find insights. Explore big and wide as well as deep and detail, because it will really, really help you. That's it from my side today. Thank you for your attention and for being with me. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them right now or afterwards, and feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Yeah, sure thing.
We have analytical data about how good is LiveOps events for hyper casual compared to casual games and hybrid casual. Is it really valuable to use LiveOps in hyper casual?
That's a good question. So I'd say that if we're talking about pure hyper, it doesn't really make sense, because usually the LiveOps, it requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's a long time game. So it really depends on the how long does your player stay in the game and how big is LTV. But if we're talking about hybrid, if we introduce in-app purchases, we try to shift the balance, then LiveOps events are crucial, because the meta progression is the basis of it. I'd say that for really good running LiveOps, some kind of a meta progression and some kind of additional layer of gameplay is really important. And for hyper-casual games, it just won't be good enough. It will be like another big game introduced to the game already existing. So yeah, I'd say that for hyper, it is very specific, and we haven't, to be honest, we haven't seen a lot of examples successful. But the moment there is a switch to the hybrid, it works really well.
So in my opinion, it is crucial to have like meta, strong meta.
Not exactly strong, but you need to have something retaining players on a longer basis. Say you need to have either different type of resources, different type of progression, because then you can use it for the live events as well. You can use it to, for example, use events to retain players, to return them to the core. If there is not enough, it will be much more difficult to monetize the players and to play with them. It's just a question of, the number of resources you work with. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Anything you want to know, guys? All right, nevertheless, you can catch me afterwards, and have a lovely day.
Thank you, Stanislav, for this very insightful presentation. Hi, everyone.